प्रभुपाद की श्री राम समस्त गौर भक्त वृंद की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे प्रेमानंदे जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Voice is breaking a lot. Nothing is audible.
Yes.
Arjun, Sakha, Prabhu, Dandaprana.
You could use temple. You could also go live on YouTube so that in temples channel.
Hare Krishna. So just give a brief introduction of his grace, Arjun Sakha Prabhu. So let's welcome him to respond to Shadikura and Hare Krishna Mahamudra. Yes. So Arjun Sakha Prabhu is a fixed disciple of his holiness Narada Swami Maharaj and Narada Goswami Maharaj, who is a very senior disciple of Prabhupada. He is well known for his classes at Srimad Bhagavatam. Academically, Arjun Sakha Prabhu holds a master's in information systems from New Jersey, America. He spiritually holds a Bhakti Shastra degree from Sakha in Mumbai. He has been actively teaching in many ISKCON centers across the world and has been inspiring and helping the youth to go deeper in their chanting and hearing Krishna Katha at ISKCON theater. In his childhood, he was very fortunate to get immense personal association of Sripad Bhakti Sarup Damodar Swami Maharaj. The Prabhupada's dear scientist disciple who sowed the seed for his Krishna consciousness. So we have Prabhuji's father, Shyam Prabhuji. So Prabhuji had trained both his son, his great Amrinder Prabhu, and his great Arjun Sakha Prabhu right from childhood. Krishna consciousness, and you see their lectures, their katha is rocking the whole world. Is because of the nice parenting and the sanskar given by the parents there. So let's welcome Shyam Prabhu and Mataji and their grandmother by chanting Hare Krishna. It's fortunate to have Prabhu this evening. So, Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ambitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Devi Shakhan He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Anandalila Maya Vigrahaya Hemavadivyacha Visundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Nityanandam Aham Naumi Sarvanandakaram Param Harinama Pradam Devam Avadhuta Shiromani. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Nityananda Ram ki, Samasta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Hare Krishna. Very happy and very honored to be here at the lotus feet of Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, Shri Gaura Nitai, Shri Giriraj Govardhan, Radha and Krishna. What are their names? Huh? Gaurangi Bangalore. Gaurangi Bangalore. Bangalore Ishwar. Shri Gaurangi Bangalore Ishwar ki. It almost reminds me of London and Paris. How Prabhupada named them Shri Radha London Ishwar and Shri Radha Paris Ishwar. Shri Gaurangi Bangalore Ishwar. And of course, at the lotus feet of our 6 Goswamis and the whole Sampradaya, up to Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Jana, I offer my very respectful obeisances, my heartfelt gratitude to His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu and to His Grace Braj Krishna Prabhu for very kindly inviting me to ISKCON Sheshadripuram. This is the first time I'm coming here. I remember I came to Bangalore one time for work about 20 years back. And after 20 years, I'm coming back to Bangalore. So I have no memories of Bangalore, absolutely. So very happy here to be amidst so many wonderful devotees on a Friday night. I remember while we were coming, when Bipin Bihari Prabhu was driving, we came through one of the streets and we passed by a theater. And the crowd there was enormous. People were standing practically in lines to get into the theater. So amidst all that, to keep aside the movies and to keep aside the theater and to come here on a Friday night to hear about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Thank you very much. Your very kind presence is inspiring me, is motivating me. I don't know what I'm going to speak, but by seeing all of you all here, I am inspired and motivated to speak something that I have heard from the predecessor Acharyas, from Srila Prabhupada, and from Gurujan, by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and all the contemporary devotees that we find are relentlessly traveling around the world, preaching and spreading the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To all the devotees, whether watching online or present here, please accept my very, very humble obeisances. And please pray for me so that I can speak about Krishna without faltering. It's very easy to sit here and falter and forget. But if devotees here very kindly pray and bless me, I can speak some kind words in the glorification of the Supreme Lord. While we were coming here from Mumbai, few weeks back, we were in Pune and we got the association of His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu. And I remember when I was back in the US, in fact, in the last visit itself, Radheshyam Prabhu had mentioned, next time when you come to India, let me know 2 months prior so that I can start planning your visits. And he had mentioned that Pune is your home. You have to come. There's no option. You have to come to Pune. But he said, apart from Pune, you should visit Bangalore. You should visit Bangalore. The congregation there is so sweet and so wonderful, led by His Grace Braj Krishna Prabhu. And of course, at that time, I had said a yes because I didn't know what to expect. But now that I'm here and seeing the devotees, I can kind of comprehend and kind of understand what His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu had meant. So while we were coming here from Mumbai, we took our flight, and in the morning, we had booked an Uber. And it was a very interesting journey, very eventful. When we booked the Uber, we had no idea who the Uber driver is. It was morning 7:15. The Uber driver came, he put all our bags, we sat inside. And while we were going, my father was sitting ahead. So he kind of heard the driver murmur something. And when he just heard a little more, we heard the drivers chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I am not joking, Jagannath is Sakshi. He was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So my father was bewildered. He looked and he said, Mahamantra? He said, Mahamantra is life and soul. You should chant Mahamantra. So now this was for devotees. If you are hearing this in the morning from an Uber driver, this is Romancha Kampa. This is ecstasy. So we were thrilled and we wanted to know more about him. So while we were discussing, he showed us his bead bag. And it was 7:15 in the morning and he said, Prabhuji, till now I've already finished 21 rounds. We were surprised. I mean, I was practically surprised. I had just put my hand inside the bead bag. And his 21 was already done. And then he was speaking about Mahamantra and how he got connected to ISKCON Juhu temple in 2011. And now, of course, he's aspiring for initiation. And he was quoting verses left, right, center. He was quoting verses from Narshika Puran and Narshika Sahasranam, and like Ganga verses were flowing. And I was thinking to myself, this is the best example of Luksa deception. He didn't have a tilak, but he had kanji. And so much so that I was convinced that if he was asked to give a class, he would nail it. He would do a good job. Somehow the circumstance is such that he's driving a car. But in my heart, in my mind, I was thinking, if not for Srila Prabhupada, practically this was not possible. To see an Uber driver morning 7 o'clock chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, chant 21 rounds, quote Bhagavatam verses, quote Narshika Puran verses, it was amazing. It was simply amazing. As Prabhupada, which is simply wonderful. And now it didn't end there. Now we came to the airport. This was T1 airport, Mumbai. We came to the airport and we ended up seeing about 7-8 devotees, tilak, bead bag, kanchiwala. And we were confused. Are we in the airport or are we there in the temple? And everyone with bead bag, everyone tilak. You don't see that in an airport. And then we later got to know that they're going to Vrindavan for a yatra. So flying to Delhi and then going to Vrindavan. It didn't end there. It didn't end there. Now we went for security check. Now when we went to security check, my father was ahead of me in the line. So he went and he saw the security guy and he said, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe. So that person also said, Radhe Radhe, Hare Krishna. And then when this conversation went back and forth, he told my father, Aapne to meri din mana di. You made my day. You helped me remember Radharani and Krishna. You made my day. Now next, I was there in the line. So then I went. Now he looked at me and with the tilak and kanchi, etc. So he looked at me and said, Radhe Radhe. So I said, Radhe Radhe, Hare Krishna. And then he said, Kahan se? UP se? Are you from UP? So I said, no, I'm from Mumbai. And then he said something. I was bewildered. I was shocked to hear that from the security person. He said, Radharani ka naam to har jagah chhaya hai. Irrespective of whether you're from Mumbai or UP, Radharani's name is there everywhere. She is to be worshipped and she is to be glorified everywhere. And mind you, we are in the airport and this is a security person. And I was just thinking, what's going on? The day has started way better than I imagined. Whether it's the Uber guy, whether it's the people in the airport, whether it's the security person. I remember another time, this was again the T1 airport. And I was in the security. We were going to Coimbatore. Because Radhesham Prabhu's sister is there in Coimbatore. So we were going there. And while we were there in the airport, again security, I stretched my arm and they were checking. And he looked at the tilak and kanchi. And he looked at me and said, Radhanath Swami. So I said, yes, Radhanath Swami. So he saw the tilak and kanchi and he associated Radhanath, Srila Radhanath Maharaj to ISKCON. So he said, Radhanath Swami. I said, Radhanath Swami. And I was thinking to myself, our ISKCON movement has spread far and wide in practically every town and village. The prediction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had made, Priti Pite Ashe Jyoti Navaradi Gram, Sarvatra Prachar Hoiga Mora Naam, that my name will be spread in every town and village, is now a reality. Not just India, but also America. And so many places, the rural places that probably we have not even heard names, but Mahaprabhu's chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra has spread far and wide everywhere. Thanks to the hard work of one 70-year-old man. Srila Prabhupada ki. So we not just owe this 1 hour to Prabhupada, we owe our lives to Prabhupada for practically pulling us from the deep dark clutches, the deep dark well of materialistic lifetime, of life. If not for Prabhupada, practically we would be in the theater hall watching some movie right now. But thanks to him that we are here at the lotus feet of Prabhu Jagannath. While we were coming in the flight, I remember that there was one magazine ahead of me. And this was an Indigo flight. So in the Indigo flight, you don't get complimentary. So if you want some juice or something, you just see the magazine and you can ask them. So I was seeing that magazine, and the first page that I flipped, very wonderful quote by Martin Luther King Jr. And Martin Luther King Jr. there, he mentioned, to all other places, I go as a tourist. But to India, I come as a pilgrim. Such a wonderful quote. To all other places, I go as a tourist. But when I come to India, when I come to Bharatvarsha, I come as a pilgrim, because India has such rich Vedic spiritual culture. And we see people all around the world come to India to go deeper in their practice of Krishna consciousness. The quest, the journey home, the journey within. People coming from different places. And the thing that offers, the thing that India offers, or Bharatvarsha offers, or Vedic culture, Sanatan Dharma offers the world, is the most precious jewel of Srimad Bhagavatam. Janmantare kritam punyam tada bhagavatam labhe. In the Bhagavat Mahima, if you see, it very beautifully says, Janmantare kritam punyam. After lifetimes of piety, after lifetimes of krita punya punja, after lifetimes of doing pious work, will we hear the name Bhagavatam. I'm not talking about the content. Just hearing the name Srimad Bhagavatam, it requires one lifetimes of piety and pious activities. So we are all assembled here to hear and chant from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. His Grace Braj Krishna Prabhu instructed me to speak on the past life of Narada Muni, today and tomorrow. So in our today's discussion, we will be primarily focusing on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. And tomorrow we will be diving deep into the section of who is Narada Muni, what is his contribution, who was he in his past life, and how can we also attain what Sripad Narada Muni has attained. So that will be in tomorrow's discussion. In the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the section of Rukmini, Canto 10, chapter 52, text 20, there is a very beautiful verse that comes up. Please kindly chant along with me. Brahman Krishna Katha Punya Madhvi Loka Malapaha Kodu Tripet Shrudmanam Shrutagya Nityanutana. Canto 10, chapter 52, text 20, the section of Rukmini, Shukadeva Goswami gives 3 qualities of Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahman Krishna Katha. How is this Krishna Katha? First quality, Punya. It is pure. And of this there is no doubt. Anyone who comes in this current of all pure Krishna Katha, for sure that person will become pure. But what is our intention? What is our mentality when we are hearing Katha is very important. If the aim is purification, then Bhagavatam acts very fast. But the aim is argumentative, tark, kutark, then Bhagavatam will take time because faith is not there in the heart. In the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we find there is a personality by the name Devananda Pandit. And Sri Devananda Pandit was known for his erudite scholarship. He would quote verses left, right, center from Bhagavatam. When he would speak, it would be a jam-packed hall, house full. And he was known for his speech. And eventually we see he would present very beautifully. But one time, our Srivas, he came to hear this Katha. And he was sitting behind and Srivas was hearing this Katha. And as Sri Devananda Pandit was speaking about the glories of the Supreme Lord, our Srivas was sitting behind and was sobbing. And at one point the sobbing increased to crying. And so much so that he was crying so heavily that people next to him started hearing. Now Devananda Pandit thought to himself, hey, this is disturbance. He is crying and he's disturbing everyone. This is disturbance. And now when Devananda Pandit thought like this, the people who were hearing that class, they went behind, picked up Srivas and practically manhandled them and threw him out of their something. We don't want anyone who's crying here and doing a show. We don't want all these people. Srivas was practically thrown out. And Devananda Pandit did not say a word. He who was speaking Bhagavatam, he saw a Vaishnava being manhandled. Vaishnava Aparad. And Devananda Pandit kept quiet. And this is why we see, even before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared down to this world, Mahaprabhu came with a grudge against Devananda Pandit. He who is Namo Mahavadanyaya, the most magnanimous and the most merciful, comes down with a grudge, a vengeance against Devananda Pandit. And later we find Mahaprabhu is not ready to give mercy. But when that Devananda Pandit falls at the feet of Vakreshwar Pandit and seeks his blessings and mercy, then Devananda Pandit becomes all pure. So what is the point we are making? Bhagavatam is pure, yes. But if the intention is like Devananda Pandit, only scholarship, then Bhagavatam will take time. But if the intention is like Srivas, one can be a very small person sitting in one small corner. But if we can resonate to the teachings of Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu likes that personality more than a person who is having erudite scholarship, but is only lip deep. Bhagavatam is meant to be heart deep, not just lip deep. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki, Shri Radha Krishna Bhagavan ki, Shri Gauranidaya ki, Shri Giriraj Govardhan Maharaj ki. So this is the first quality of Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahman Krishna Katha, it is pure. And if the desire is there, then one can become pure. One time Prabhupada was there in a morning walk. And one disciple of Prabhupada came to Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, one American author has written a new book. So Prabhupada said, Acha, what is the name of the book? He said, Prabhupada, the name of the book is I Am Okay, You Are Okay. If you go online, it's a 1970 book by an American author. Prabhupada said, what is the name? He said, I am okay, you are okay. Prabhupada said, go and tell him, I am okay, You are not okay. But if you come to me, I will make you okay. I will make you okay. By the power of Srimad Bhagavatam, I will purify your heart. Then you will be okay. But right now, I'm okay. You're not okay. Sripad Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would make a very sweet point in his Black Lotus book. Sripad Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj says, every sadhaka of this world is a recovering addict. We are all addicted to Maya. But now we're trying to recover by hearing and chanting. So Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj would say, every sadhaka of this world is a recovering addict. Such a sweet point. When I heard it, it was practically like a loop. It was going in my head. They're all recovering addictions. And the aim of recovering addict is to become pure, punya, which Bhagavatam gives. So Brahma and Krishna Katha, punya, this is the first quality. Second, Madhvi. Madhvi means sweet. Krishna and Krishna's pastimes are very, very sweet. Sripad Bilva Mangala Thakur explains, Nijangana Kankanakeli Lolam Gopi Grihitva Navanita Kolam Amartayet Pani Talena Netre Govinda Damo Dharmadhaveti Govinda Damo Dharmadhaveti Govinda Damo Dharmadhaveti Govinda Damo Govinda Damo Dharmadhaveti. Our Sripad Bilva Mangala Thakur was also called as Leela Shukha. What does Bilva Mangala Thakur say? He says, one time, our Lala, our Krishna. Krishna is very mischievous. He is small, but his mischief is, my goodness. Krishna was this small, and one time one motherly gopi came to meet Mother Yashoda. And as she came to meet Mother Yashoda, she spoke to Mother Yashoda. And while she was going back, she realized she forgot her bangle in the house of Mother Yashoda. Nijangana kankana keli lolam. She forgot her kankan. She forgot her bangle. So now she came back. And now when she again came back, our Krishna was playing with the bangle. He was looking at the bangle, practically examining the bangle. There's nothing in the bangle to see, but he was looking in all different directions. So this motherly gopi said, Lala, Krishna, can you please give me the bangle? Krishna said, no. Then Maya softened more. Krishna, please, can you give me a bangle? Krishna said, no, I won't. Now motherly gopi also understands. जब घी सीधी उंगली से ना निकले, उंगली टेढ़ी करनी पड़ती है. Now she is a motherly gopi. Mothers have more experience in this world. They have seen the world more. Now she goes inside the house and she gets a ball of butter. Now you know what's coming up. She gets a ball of butter. Nijangana kankana keli lolam gopi grihitva navanita golam. She gets a golam, navanita golam, ball of butter. But what does she do? Amartayet pani talena netre. She comes from behind and she closes the eyes of Krishna and she keeps the ball of butter next to his nose. Now eyes are closed, Krishna is smelling. And now motherly gopi says, Krishna, did you recognize this? Krishna says, of course, what are you talking about? This is the ball of butter. Motherly gopi says, do you want? Krishna says, yes. Motherly gopi says, then this is for you, Krishna, you can take it. And the eyes are opened. Krishna looks at the ball of butter. With both hands, he grabs the ball of butter and runs inside and tells Mother Yashoda, look, I tricked this motherly gopi. I got a ball of butter. Now, dear devotees, you tell me, did Krishna trick Mother Gopi or did Mother Gopi trick Krishna? The motherly gopi got the bangle back because now that Krishna held on to the ball of butter, the bangle fell down. She took the bangle, she went inside. Krishna ate the ball of butter, then looked around and said, hey, wait a minute. Seems like I am being tricked. I was holding the bangle, but this motherly gopi came and tricked me. So Krishna is smart, but Krishna Bhakta ei bada chatur. The devotees of the Lord are more intelligent. So this is the pastimes of Krishna, very sweet. You see, the moment we spoke, everyone had a smile. Pastimes of Krishna are very sweet. So Brahman Krishna Katha Punya, this is the first quality, pure. Second, Madhvi, it is very, very sweet. And third, Lokamalapaha, Krishna's pastimes are such. Krishna in the form of Krishna Katha enters through our ears and gets into our heart and starts kidnapping, starts stealing all the anarthas that we have. Those anarthas that we hold on so preciously. Krishna comes and starts stealing all of them. And he is the best among thieves. This is the month of Purushottam. What do we chant? Braje prasidham navanita choram gopangananam chadukola choram anekjamma choram choragraganyam purusham namami Shri Radhika Hridayasya choram Navambudarshamalakanti choram Padashitanam cha samasta choram. We worship the Lord who's the best among thieves. It's wrong to steal in this world, but look at all of us. We are worshiping a Lord who steals, who lies. The absolute truth is lying. Satyam param dhimahi, he is the absolute truth. In Vrindavan, he lies. In the Mrid Bhakshan Leela, we find when Krishna is eating dirt. Mother Yashoda comes to Krishna and says, Lala, did you eat dirt? And Krishna is saying, no, I did not. Well, in reality, he ate. The absolute truth is lying. He lies, he steals, he cheats, he breaks butter pots. He does everything. But still, for that Lord, we are up in the morning chanting Mangalarati. For that Lord, we are chanting his names. Why? Because he has a quality. He's not just sweet, but he, in the form of Krishna Katha, enters our heart and steals all the anarthas that are there. And when these anarthas are stolen, now we can experience the sweetness of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Madhvi, and that eventually transitions to the first characteristic of Bhagavatam, which is Punya. We become pure. The power of Srimad Bhagavatam is so much. Shukadev Goswami says, simply by hearing. Sripad Ayendra Prabhu would say, hearing Bhagavatam is the lazy, intelligent way to make advancement in Kali. It's lazy because you're just sitting, but it is intelligent because you're doing the best activity. It's a lazy, intelligent way to make advancement, Ayendra Prabhu would say. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam that we are all blessed with. Our Sripad Sanatan Goswami, he would do Govardhan Parikrama. How many have done Govardhan Parikrama here? By foot, not auto. Quite a few devotees. Now we see doing it in auto and doing the walk. There is some difference. Auto will be 1 hour, probably less than 1 hour sometimes. Walking 4, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours based on our speed. Now the parikrama that we do is about 21, 22 kilometers. But there's one more Govardhan Parikrama, which is practically from the outer ring, which is about 40 kilometers. Our Sripad Sanatan Goswami would do that Parikrama every day. Every day, walking 40 kilometers every day. And now Sripad Sanatan Goswami, when he was in his 90s, would do Parikrama. Not in his 20s. In his 90s, he would walk 40 kilometers every day. And he had a burning desire in his heart. He would pray to Srimad Bhagavatam, my dear Srimad Bhagavatam, you are so voluminous. You are so heavy. I can't carry you in my hand because I'm 90. But my dear Sripad Sanatan Goswami, I beg you, if the verses that you have, if you come and recite in my throat, then whenever I want, I can pull up these verses. I don't have to carry you. But if you desire to come and recite in my throat, whenever I want, I can pull you up. Sripad Sanatan Goswami very beautifully explains, Asadhu sadhu tadain ati nicha uchataraka hana munchaka dachinma premna kanthayospura. Sripad Sanatan Goswami explains, what is the quality of Srimad Bhagavatam? Asadhu sadhu tadain, someone who is a sadhu. By studying Srimad Bhagavatam, he becomes a sadhu. Ati Nicha, Ucha Taraka, someone who is very niche. By studying Bhagavatam, he becomes Ucha. Someone who's Kanishta, by studying Bhagavatam becomes Uttam. Someone who's Asadhu, by studying Bhagavatam becomes Sadhu. Asadhu, Sadhuta Dayin, Ati Nicha Ucha Daraka, Hana Muncha Kadachimma, my dear Bhagavatam, I am praying to you. I am begging to you. Bhagavatam is asking, what is the prayer? What are you praying, my dear Sanatana Goswami? Premna Rit Kandhayos Puraha, my dear Bhagavatam, I beg to you, please recite in my kantha. Don't go out anywhere. Because if you recite in my kantha, whenever I want, I can pull out verses. The verses of Bhagavatam, dear devotees, are packets of nectar, instant burst of nectar. My worshipable spiritual master, Shri Srimad Srila Radha Govinda Maharaj, he always says, whenever you get time, you should chant verses of Bhagavatam. Even while taking bath. Let that time also not go by when we are not chanting. And then Srila Guru Maharaj said, when you are taking bath, what is the best verse to chant? He said, the prayers of Gajendra. So disciple asked why? And Srila Guru Maharaj said, because Gajendra chanted that when he was in the water. So when you're taking bath in the morning, you are also in water and you're chanting the verse of Gajendra, and that day is not far. Shri Hari will leave everything and come even to your bathroom to rescue you. These verses of Bhagavatam, dear devotees, are very powerful. One time, disciple of Prabhupada, few disciples of Prabhupada were very enthusiastic for book distribution. They wanted to go around and distribute Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, etc. So they told Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, can we go for book distribution? Prabhupada's eyes lit up and he said, of course, you should go. One time Srila Prabhupada said, these book distribution scores are my life and soul. It is what that is keeping me alive, Prabhupada had mentioned. Book distribution was very dear to Srila Prabhupada. So few disciples, they went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, can we go for book distribution? Prabhupada said, of course. And then Prabhupada said, where do you plan to go for book distribution? And the disciples said, Prabhupada, nightclub. Prabhupada said, where? Disciples said, Prabhupada, nightclub. Prabhupada said, go to nightclub, but make sure you come back also. If you are going for a book distribution that is good, make sure you also come back. One time when Prabhupada came into our Krishna Balaram Mandir, it was 2 o'clock at night. Prabhupada came from preaching. And when he entered Krishna Balaram Mandir, in one of the brahmachari rooms, the light was on. So Prabhupada saw, and Srila Prabhupada remarked, and he said, that has to be Radha Govinda's brahmachari studying Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada said that and he went inside. Later, when the devotees went upstairs, actually Srila Guru Maharaj at 2 o'clock at night was flipping pages and studying Bhagavatam and was having tears in his eyes. At 2 at night. This is what we are being blessed with, dear devotees. The disciples of Prabhupada, I always feel the disciples of Prabhupada are like a rainbow. Well, Srila Prabhupada is like a rainbow who's having different colors. And disciples of Prabhupada have taken one color, one quality, one attribute of Srila Prabhupada and have given it to the whole world. Whether if you're talking about Srila Jayapataka Maharaj, it's the Mayapur project. If you're talking about Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, it's his amazing Gaur Leela narrations with the voice modulations that he does in Radha Gopinath. If you're talking about Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, it is a scientific preaching, his Ranga Niketan. If you're talking about Ayendra Prabhu, it is Nam Sankirtan. If you're talking about Srila Radha Govinda Maharaj, it is Srimad Bhagavatam. If you're talking about Gopal Krishna Maharaj, it is building temples. And the list goes on. List goes on. Every disciple of Prabhupada has taken one quality of Prabhupada and has just exemplified that and given to the whole world. How fortunate are we? So that Srimad Bhagavatam is what Prabhupada is giving us. Srila Prabhupada was there in Radha Damodar Mandir. And he was writing the Mukunda Mala Stotra, giving purpose to the Mukunda Mala Stotra, translating it. Srila Prabhupada finished the first 6 verses of Mukunda Mala Stotra. And then Prabhupada stopped. And Prabhupada diverted all his attention to Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Prabhupada started translating the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Prabhupada stopped the Bhagavatam also in the 10th canto. Then Prabhupada jumped to Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it's so fascinating to see that Mukunda Mala Stotra that Prabhupada started off with, he could never completed because Srimad Bhagavatam took more precedence. And then Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Taking the word by example, the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, later by the kind arrangement of the disciples of Prabhupada, like Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and others, Mukundamala got translated. But Prabhupada and Radha Damodar started Mukundamala, stopped it, and then jumped to Srimad Bhagavatam, showing the importance of this. So we find that hearing from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam is so beneficial and so important and so purifying for the heart. One time, few disciples of Prabhupada wrote a letter to Prabhupada that Prabhupada, the preaching in Europe is going wonderful. So Prabhupada said, Acha, what are you doing there? They said, Prabhupada, the book distribution that we are doing here, we are using a strategy. Prabhupada said, Acha, what is the strategy? They told Prabhupada that first, when all the people are coming, we are keeping prasadam table. First, we are keeping prasadam table. Now the people are coming, we are giving prasadam for free. Their hand is filled with prasadam. They are having a plate of prasadam in their hand. And now the next table is bookstall. So Prabhupada, now that they're giving free prasadam in their hand, they come to the bookstall and they end up purchasing a book because prasadam is free. So they're inspired. The prasadam is going inside. And now they're getting inspiration to buy a book. Prabhupada, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki, Srila Prabhupada, he said, wonderful. This is my mission. Their hand should be full and pocket should be empty. Their hand should be full and pocket should be empty. Emphasizing the importance of picking up Srimad Bhagavatam and preaching the message of Srimad Bhagavatam and distributing the books of Srimad Bhagavatam. Oftentimes, this point is made about hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And we oftentimes also make this point that, well, we have not seen Krishna. Is hearing Bhagavatam enough? All of us, I venture to say, may or may not have seen Krishna physically. So the question arises, is hearing Bhagavatam enough? Hearing pastimes of the Lord are enough? And scriptures gives so many examples to illustrate this point that just hearing from Bhagavatam is enough to sow the seed of Krishna consciousness in the heart. You have the fruit vendor Mataji who came to Vrindavan. Kavi Karnapur and Anand Vrindavan Champu explains that she had only heard about Krishna. She had not seen Krishna. Now when she came to Vrindavan, why did she come? She came with the desire of selling her fruits. Vikretu kama khila gopa kanya murari padarpita chitta vritti tadyadikam ho bhavashada mocha govinda damodhar madhaveti. Our Bilva Mangala Thakur explains, when this fruit vendor Mataji came to Vrindavan, why? Vikretu kama khila gopa kanya. This gopa kanya, this Mataji, when she came to Braj, why did she come? Vikretu, to sell her fruits. But because she had heard so much about Krishna, her mind was constantly thinking about the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Murari padarpita chitta vritti. Her chitta, her vritti was constantly thinking about the lotus feet of Murari. And now what happened? Instead of saying, aam le lo, sep le lo, santve le lo, etc., her mind was thinking so much about Krishna that she was saying, Govind le lo, Damodar le lo, Madhav le lo. She forgot her daily business. She forgot her activity. Just by hearing about Krishna, her mind got so absorbed, and eventually, Kavi Karnapur explains in Anand Vrindavan Champu, after 4 days of constantly calling out to the Supreme Lord came out and gave darshan. But how did it start? Just by hearing. Rukmini never saw Krishna. It started by hearing. Gunan bhuvan sundara shunmatante nirvishya karmativarai bhratom datapa rupam drisha drishimatam akhilata labham tvaya chuta vishati chittam apatrapam me katva mukunda bhati kulashila rupa. Canto 10, chapter 52, text 37 onwards. Prayers of Rukmini. Same example. Rukmini never saw Krishna. It's just by hearing about Krishna that she fell in love with Krishna, and Krishna came. Krishna came. Sometimes we use our material logic and think, will hearing just help? Yes, hearing will just help. It will help us to see Krishna face to face, just this one limb. And this is why we see Prahlad Maharaj put Shravanam as the first limb. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasya Sakhyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktiste Navalakshanam. Bhaktiste Navalakshanam. These are the 9 qualities, the 9 symptoms of bhakti, but it starts with Shravanam. It starts with hearing about the Supreme Lord. We use our material logic. One time, one logician, he came to a farmer, and this farmer had a bull. And this logician came and he looked at the bull, and he said, "Oh, why have you put a bell around the neck of the bull?" So this farmer, he said, "Oh, well, I put a bell around this neck is because whenever the bull walks, I will understand whether the bull is walking or not." So the logician said, now I have a question. What if the bull is just standing in one place and moving its head? Valid question. What if the bull is just standing at one place and moving its head? The farmer said, he is a bull, not a logician like you. He will not think so much. Sometimes we use material logic and do analysis. But spirituality is very simple. Prabhupada would say it is easy, simple for the simple. Those who are simple-hearted, Krishna consciousness is very simple. But those who are crooked, then Krishna consciousness is going to take some time. So material logic doesn't work. All that works is faith. Shraddha shabde vishwasa kahe sudrida nishtay. Krishna bhakti koile sarva karma krita hoy. Just this one limb of Krishna consciousness is powerful enough to develop Krishna prema in our heart. Having said this, I stop here for Radha Krishna Pranamora, only to continue our discussion from the point where we left off. Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare. Rama Krishna, Rama Rama, Jivana Krishna, Jivani Varane Bhati, Marana Hero, Jivana. Rama Krishna Pramana Everyone. Lalita Vishaka Yadasati Agyayatani Bhavaseni Charanagani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Much louder. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare.
Jai.
Back to our discussion. So we were speaking about Srimad Bhagavatam, the importance, the glories of chanting these verses. We were speaking about the glories of Bhagavatam, importance of Bhagavatam, verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. And we were emphasizing how just by hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam, all perfection is guaranteed. We gave the example of the fruit vendor Mataji. We gave the example of Rukmini. How about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Our Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he heard from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, our Ramananda Rai, he walked all the way from Jagannath Puri to Godavari, to south, just to hear from Ramananda Rai, emphasizing the importance of hearing. In all other places, Mahaprabhu speaks. Rup Goswami, Mahaprabhu speaks. Sanatan Goswami, Mahaprabhu speaks. Raghunath Das Goswami, Mahaprabhu speaks. Prakashananda Saraswati, Mahaprabhu speaks. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Mahaprabhu speaks. The only place where Mahaprabhu goes to hear is Ramananda Rai. The Supreme Lord walks all the way just to hear from his devotee. Again, teaching the importance of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Very important to align ourselves to the superiors. Whatever our superiors say, very important to align ourselves and hear from them. Yahara Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavera Sthane, Ekanta Ashray Koro Chaitanya Charane. If someone wants to understand the deep truths of Srimad Bhagavatam, they have to first of all approach a devotee. And that devotee who has taken the shelter of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. One time, Srila Prabhupada was there at one place and he saw one of his disciples. And that disciple was sticking stamps. You see, you have stamps. And oftentimes this habit is there that, you see, many times we have habit. And it's not just an Indian habit, it's a global habit. It has spread in all corners, every town and village. It has spread. So you see, people have that habit. And this disciple was putting stamps and he was using his saliva. And Prabhupada saw that and said, Muchi, this is not correct. This is impure. Don't use your mouth. Go take a glass of water, dip your finger and then use it. That is perfect. That is correct. Brahmana quality. So he said yes. And Prabhupada was standing. Prabhupada was standing to see whether he is doing it or not. So he went, took a glass of water and brought it back. And he was, with water, he was again putting the stamps. And then eventually Prabhupada had to go. So he left the room and he went outside. Now what happened? One stamp was still remaining and water was over. Once time was remaining, water was over. Now he was thinking, should I walk all the way or should I use my old technique? Anyway, I'm PhD in old technique. Prabhupada is anyway not there. Kya pata chalega? One stamp was there. So he put his index finger inside his mouth. And the moment the finger touched the mouth, the door flew open and Prabhupada was standing. And Prabhupada said, I told you not to do it. I told you not to do that. And he was thinking, how did Prabhupada get to know? He was not there in the room. I make a mistake and he comes and just does it. Prabhupada said, one should obey superior if one wants to make advancement. And here is Gauranga Mahaprabhu walking all the way to hear from Ramananda Rai. Who is Ramananda Rai? Vishaka Sakhi. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Radha and Krishna combined. And both of them, when they meet, tears are flowing from their eyes. And sometimes question is asked, why is it that if someone is meeting for the first time, they're crying? We don't cry when we meet someone for the first time, right? We don't cry. But Mahaprabhu is meeting Ramananda Rai for the first time in both. Like Ganga and Yamuna, tears are flowing. And those who are standing around are thinking, what is going on? They're meeting for the first time and they're embracing each other and they're crying so much. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radharani. Ramananda Rai is Vishaka Sakhi, and this was the first time Radharani was meeting Vishaka Sakhi in Gaura Lila. And now, such a confidential Braj Leela associate Vishaka Sakhi is now seeing Radharani, tears are flowing, and Radharani is seeing Vishaka Sakhi, tears are flowing. But those who are standing around, they are not able to understand. So Mahaprabhu tells Ramananda Rai, my dear Rai Ramananda, we are Sajatiya, they are Vijatiya. We are like-minded, but they are not like-minded. When he goes to Ramananda Rai doesn't say, well, I am very big scholar, you should hear from me. Mahaprabhu goes to Ramananda Rai and says, to me, Rai Ramananda? And Ramananda Rai says, yes. And then he puts three adjectives. Ami Dashamanda Sudra. Ami Dasa, I'm servant. I am Manda, I'm not very intelligent, and I'm Shudra. Ami Dasamanda Shudra. So why are we discussing? Because here also Mahaprabhu is emphasizing the importance of hearing scriptures from Ramananda Rai. And this list goes on, dear devotees. But we see in this wonderful, glorious book called Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 12 cantos. And in these 12 cantos, 10 subject matters are discussed. Atra sarga visargascha sthanam poshanamutaya manmantara ishanukatha nirodha muktimashraya. 10 subject matters are discussed. From creation, secondary creation, maintenance of the Lord, planetary cosmic manifestation, Uti, different manmantars. And finally, this 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam is considered the smiling, moon-like face of Krishna. One time, I heard this from Dinabandhu Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple, who is known for his Braj Parikramas. We're talking about the moon. So one time Krishna was standing at Srimati Radharani. And Krishna told Srimati Radharani, my dear Radhe, you're looking so beautiful. You're looking as beautiful as the moon. And Radharani said, Acha, in my presence also you're remembering Chandravali, Chandra. You're remembering the moon. And Krishna said, no, that's not what I meant. I wanted to say you're looking beautiful. And he gave an analogy of the moon. But Radharani said, in my presence also you're remembering the moon. Moon means Chandra, Chandra means Chandravali. And Krishna was thinking, what connection is this? From moon to Chandra, Chandra to Chandravali. So this 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam is like that moon, Chandra. Smiling face of the Supreme Lord. And we see every canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam maps to a limb of Krishna's body. In the Padma Puran, this point is explained. Every canto of Bhagavatam denotes one limb of Krishna's body. The first and second canto denotes the lotus feet of the Lord. The third and fourth canto denotes the thighs of the Supreme Lord. Canto 5 is the navel of the Supreme Lord. Canto 6 is the chest of the Supreme Lord. Canto 7 and 8 are the arms, the Bahu, Ajana Bahu, are the mighty arms of the Supreme Lord. How many cantos done? 8. What are the first two cantos? Feet. Canto 3 and 4? Canto 5, chest. Navel. Canto 6, navel. Correct. Canto 7 and 8? Arms. So we are left with Canto 9, which is the throat. Canto 10, the smiling face of the Supreme Lord. Canto 11, the forehead. And Canto 12, the head. These are the 12 cantos Padma Puran explains. Can someone quickly go through all the 12 cantos and explain to us what are the limbs, how it maps? Oh, let's do it together. First two cantos, lotus feet. Canto 3 and 4, thighs. Canto 5, Canto 6, Canto 7, Canto 9, Canto 10, Canto 11, Canto 12. So these are the 12 cantos. And this is why we see, we are always told that 10 canto is glorious. It is summum bonum. But Prabhupada said we should start from the first canto. We progressively go. This is why we are always taught when we join ISKCON, even while seeing deities, we progressively start from the lotus feet. We start from the lotus feet and then progressively we go up to the face. Likewise for Bhagavatam also, progressively we start from the first and second canto and then we keep going to the 10th canto. The first 9 cantos speaks about the Aishwarya, the godly ability of the Supreme Lord, his creation, maintenance, this and that. And the 10th canto is the sweetness. Well, yes, the 10th canto is the essence. So the question arises, why Shukadev Goswami spending time speaking 9 cantos for 5 days? He's going to die. But Shukadev Goswami understands that if 10th canto is presented directly, we may misunderstand Krishna. We may think that, oh, he's lying, he's stealing, he's there with the gopis. Well, he's not Bhagavan. Now, because this doubt should not creep into our head, first 9 cantos he speaks about who is Bhagavan, who is Krishna. When that point is drilled upon again and again, divided into 4 sections. How many sections? 4 sections. The first section of the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the first 3 verses, Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. What are the 3? Sambandha. This is the first section of the first canto. Second section of the first canto is the 6 questions asked by the sages. What is the second section? 6 questions asked by the sages. So the first section is the 3 verses. Then we have the 6 questions by the sages. Then we have the section which is the history of Srimad Bhagavatam. What is this third section? History of Srimad Bhagavatam. Finally, the 4th section which wraps up the first canto is who is Parikshit Maharaj, how did he appear, and how did he meet Shukadev Goswami. Easy way to remember. What are the 4 points, the first canto? 4 topics. First 3 verses, Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. What are the second? 6 questions by the sages. Third, history of Srimad Bhagavatam. 4, how he appeared and how he met Shukadev Goswami. So if we are asked, अचानक कोई आके पूछ ले कि प्रभु जी first canto में क्या है? 4 points are ready. And now on this we can elaborate. So like this, every canto we can remember with bullet points. So we may not remember the content, but bullet points we can remember for every canto. And like that we can, if someone asks immediately, we can present. Now, His Grace Bharaj Krishna Prabhu was telling me that in his Bhakti Vaibhav classes, they are right now in the section of Canto 1, Chapter 5, which is the past life of Narada Muni, which primarily falls in the 3rd section of the first canto, which is history of Srimad Bhagavatam. But as we mentioned at the start, we will leave that conversation for tomorrow. So, in the 11 minutes that we have, we will see something from the first 3 verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We mentioned that the first 3 verses are Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. Now, what is the first verse? Janmadyasya yatonvayaditaratas chardeshu abhikya swarat tere brahmhridaya dikavaye poihyante yatsuraya Tejo vari mridanyatha vinimayo yatra trisargo vrisha dhamna svena sada nirastam tuhakam satyam param dhimani. Very famous verse. So many devotees have it by heart. Now, this verse, dear devotees, is very, very deep. Our Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the revered spiritual master of our Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in the 1930s in Radhakot, for the 30 days of Kartik, all 30 days he spoke just in the first verse. That is how much depth is there. Oftentimes we say, pata hai, Prabhu ji, ho gaya. First, second, third, pata hai, Prabhu ji, sab pata hai. But Saraswati Thakur spoke for 30 days just on first verse. And to add more light, this first verse has 108 prominent commentaries, bona fide commentaries, just on the first verse. That is how much depth is there. In fact, we see our Prabhupada also. For the first verse, if you see the purport, it spans pages. It's almost Prabhupada is the Bhaktivedanta, the purpose of his heart is overflowing, and Prabhupada is writing and writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. And then he realizes, oh, second verse is also there. And then he goes. And like that, Prabhupada keeps writing purports. One Prabhupada disciple was saying, these Bhaktivedanta purports are the transcendental ecstasies of Srila Prabhupada. His Grace Udayananda Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple, was saying, oftentimes Prabhupada would write these purports not during the daytime, because daytime he would be busy giving classes, giving initiations, installing temples, morning walks. No time. All the Bhaktivedanta purports that we have here, devotees, were written between 12 a.m. at night and 4 a.m. in the morning. The time when we sleep, the time when we are in the mood of Muchukunda Maharaj, in the mood of Kumbhakarna, the time when everyone is sleeping, that's the time Prabhupada is awake and writing the Bhaktivedanta purports. And oftentimes I ask myself, if I am given the whole life and I am given daytime, can I write even 1/4 of what Prabhupada has written? No, impossible. And this is what an Acharya writes in his 70s between 12 a.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning. Isn't it amazing? Between 12 and 4, when everyone is sleeping, Prabhupada is writing the Bhaktivedanta purports. When Prabhupada was there in New Vrindavan, one Prabhupada disciple was explaining, Prabhupada, because it was open land, there would be no light. So Prabhupada would sit with a lantern. With lantern in one hand, Prabhupada would translate. So much effort. Disciples are sleeping. Prabhupada is having lantern in one hand and translating books in New Vrindavan, West Virginia. So what is this first verse speaking about? Of course, in the interest of time, we have the meaning that we have heard from the Srimad Bhagavatam and from various speakers around. But we see this first verse has a very, very deep interpretation, very deep meaning. And this will be the last few minutes of our discussion. How does the first verse end? Satyam Param Dhimahi. Dhimahi means I worship. Those devotees who are Brahmanically initiated will find this word is coming again and again. Dhimahi means I worship, I meditate. But whom do I meditate upon? Satyam. Now who is that Satyam? Krishna is the absolute truth. In Canto 10, Chapter 2, we find when Krishna is there in the womb of Maya Devaki, the demigods are offering prayers. Satyascha yoni nihitam cha satye satyatmakabdvam sharanam prapanna. Time and again, Krishna is addressed as Satyam, 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 Satyam. So who is that Satyam? It is Krishna. Demigods are also confirming. Now Satyam is Krishna. Next is Param. In the Rig Veda, please hear this very carefully. In the Rig Veda, the Bij mantra, the seed, again, those who are Brahmanical initiated will hear this word, Bij mantra. In the Rig Veda, the Bij mantra for Radha Nam is Rama. What is it? Rama. This is explained in the Rig Veda. The Bij mantra for Radha Nam is Rama. Now, if Ram or Rama is Radha, isn't Ram also Radharani? We find in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kaviraj Goswami addresses Srimati Radharani by the word Param. Devi Krishnamai Prokta Radhika Paradevata. He uses the word Param or Para. to again reiterate, in the Rig Veda, the Bij mantra for Radhanam is Ram. If Ram or Ram is Srimati Radharani, Pa Ram is also Radharani because the word Pa is a prefix. For Krishna Rupena, it's a prefix. Now Satyam is Krishna, Param is Radharani. Dhimahi, I meditate, I worship. Satyam Param Dhimahi, I meditate on Radha and Krishna. This is the first verse. Now oftentimes question is asked, well, where is Radharani's name mentioned? Well, Radharani's name is mentioned in the first verse itself. It's mentioned in the first verse itself, but in an indirect, in a hidden way. In an indirect way. Now, verse doesn't end here. Satyam Param Dhimahi. I meditate, I worship Radha and Krishna. But now, when Radha and Krishna come together, Radha Krishna Eka Atma Duhi Deha Dhari. Radha and Krishna eternally are one form, but in Dwapar they have taken two forms. But those two forms in Kali have again become one as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So now Satyam Param Dhimai, I worship Radha and Krishna. But now when Radha and Krishna come together, what happens? What rasa is it when Radha and Krishna are there together? Madhurya rasa, yes. Maybe a little louder. Madhurya rasa. When Radha and Krishna are there, it is called Madhurya rasa, or also called as Shringar rasa. Now when Radha and Krishna, Satyam and Param are coming together, we meditate on Satyam and Param. When both of them are coming together, we go to the first line, Janmadhya. It gives Janma to Adi. Madhurya Ras also has another name called as Adi Ras. Adi Ras, or also called as Shringar Ras, also called as Madhurya Ras. Three names for conjugal. When Satyam and Param, Radha and Krishna come in together, it gives Janma, it gives birth to Adi Ras or Shringar Ras. This is the first verse. This is the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now it doesn't end here. Now the same verse also has Gauri Lila in it. The same verse also has Gauri Lila. Do we want to hear the Gauri Lila understanding of this verse? In the first verse, now we spoke about Radha and Krishna. Now the same verse. Let's go back to Satyam Param. Satyam is Krishna, Param is Srimati Radharani. But now Satyam and Param, Radha and Krishna coming together, which means Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Sachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Because we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Radha and Krishna. So now that Satyam and Param is now Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Dhimayi, I meditate. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu I meditate on. But who's the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What has he given to this world? Janma Adi. He has given birth to Shringar Ras or Madhurya Ras. And this is confirmed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the first chapter, text 4. Anarpita Charim Chira Karunaya Avatirana Kalho Samarpaitum Unnata Ujvala Rasam Bhakta Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Dvidi Kadam Vasanti Pitaha Sadar Dekandare Spurata Vashisha Chinandana. Kaviraj Goswami explains how Mahaprabhu is coming down to give Madhurya Ras. And primarily the mood of being the servant of Srimati Radharani. So now, Satyam and Param is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We meditate on them. But what is Mahaprabhu giving? He is giving birth to what? Adi Ras, that is Shringar Ras or Madhurya Ras. But now in the second line we see Janmadhyasya Yaton Vayad Itaradas Chanteshu Abhigyaswara Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikave. It says Brahma. But where is Brahma in Gauri Lila? In Krishna Lila I can understand that Krishna is imparting knowledge in Brahmaji's heart. But Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikave, who's that Adikavi? Well, now the word translates to Tene Brahma. This transcendental knowledge, Tene Brahma, Hridaya in the heart, was given to Adi Kavi. Who is Adi Kavi in Gaura Lila? Rupa Goswami. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavi. It was Srila Rupa Goswami who was the Adi Kavi who understood the Manobhishtam of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, jumped into the heart of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, meditated on Satyam and Param, that is Radha and Krishna, that is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and gave this world Adi Ras or Shringar Ras, gave birth to Shringar Ras. So the first verse has Krishna Lila, the first verse has Gaura Lila, the first verse has Rupa Goswami, and it goes on. We can speak for days and days and days just on this first verse. But in the interest of time, I will want to very humbly stop here because it's already 9 o'clock. In our discussion today, we primarily spoke on the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, glories of the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, the power potency of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And we also broke down the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam into 4 parts. What are the 4 parts? First 3 verses, that is Sambandha, Abhidheya, Prayojan. Second, 6 questions. Now to the Matajis. What is the third section? History of Srimad Bhagavatam. Back to the Prabhujis. Yes. This is the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we ended our discussion by speaking just on the first verse on the interpretations of how it has Radha and Krishna in Brajalila and how it has Shachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu in Gauralila. In our tomorrow's discussion, we will proceed ahead and sequentially we will go to the 5th chapter and we will see about the past life of Narada Muni and the life lessons that we can take from that. Having said this, I very humbly want to stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I thank Prabhuji for so much wonderful nectar on Srimad Bhagavatam. Just floated in the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam and amazing Kirtan. And especially the between Kirtan and Radha Krishna was something out of the whole experience. I want to thank Hare Krishna Nama.
Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Ram
Hare.
Ram Hare.
Arjun Sakha Prabhu ki jai ho.
On the past life in Narada Muni, then chanting 64 rounds Ekadashi for the health of the goodness Devadaga Swami Maharaj. So we'll be chanting 64 rounds tomorrow. Tomorrow is Ekadashi. And then again evening 7 to 8:15, the class on Aura of Gaura.
The aura of Gaura.
Aura of
Tomorrow
Gaura.
evening.
So that is, and then Sunday feast also Prabhuji will be giving. Hare Krishna. And the sadhana is there for all the day.
Shachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki
Jai ho.